Thank you for that moment of grace. And I am here with Dean Chang, CIO of University of Maryland.
Hi, everyone. So lots of really interesting things. Tim started the day asking what our barrier moments were. Mohammed shared some of the amazing solutions and impact at USAID. You also heard some similar stories from Vicky, Dina, Laura, and Rico. Laura even shared how they try to think of everyone as an innovator. So I'm really thrilled to kind of wrap things up by kind of filling in how do you go from Tim's barrier moment to those innovative solutions that you've heard about? How do you help unleash the innovator inside every one of us? And with all the hype around innovation, what does it actually mean? What does it look like in practice? So in this session, you're going to try out some simple and fun activities. I hope they're fun that you can use to engage more people in your innovation process to tackle your organization's biggest challenges. So first of all, my name is Dean. That's not my title. I like to joke that I was appointed dean by my mother. It's a lifetime appointment. And I did make that very same joke in 2016 when I was testifying in front of the House Subcommittee on Space Science and Technology. So I was just very happy that my corny dad joke is now somewhere in the congressional record. It also gives you a little bit of a window into my quirky personality. I was just kind of the jokester in the group. And then just a quick thing, random things, non-work things. Actually, this affects work. I'm a big procrastinator. I like dad jokes, audiobooks, RVs. If you're interested in doing RV camping, find me afterwards at the happy hour. I'm a huge fan of RV. 7 different RV trips in 3 different countries. Okay, as Chief Innovation Officer, this is just some boring stuff, but basically I lead our innovation ecosystem. But along the lines of what we're talking about, we have this aspirational goal of turning all 40,000 of our students and our 15,000 faculty staff into innovators. And we want to launch ventures, which doesn't have to be a startup. In fact, in the majority of cases, it's not a startup, but launch ventures to really tackle grand challenges. So it's actually written in our strategic plan. I'm sure some of your organizations also have in your strategic plan. Who reads your strategic plan? Tough question, but for us, what's meaningful to me is that we have 12 goals in our strategic plan, and specifically innovation is one of those 12. Um, so what has that done? Like, this is a little bit of a gratuitous brag section about University of Maryland as well. So for 2024, Princeton Review and Entrepreneur Magazine ranked University of Maryland a #5 school in the country for entrepreneurship. I know we have some fellow Terps here. Yeah, woo, woo, nice. And so pretty awesome. First time in our top 5, but just to give you a sense of the trajectory, in 2011, University of Maryland was unranked in entrepreneurship. 2012, we broke into the top 25 for the first time. We stayed there for 5 straight years, and then 2016, we broke into the top 10. We're very excited about that. And then we've been in the top 10 for 9 straight years, and then in 2024, ascended to the top 5, which is really cool. And this is part of my narrative, but also just to continue to brag a little bit. So our president wanted to celebrate reaching the top 5. So if any of you flew through BWI Airport from mid-December to mid-March earlier this year, you might have seen this in the baggage claim, and it really celebrates a top 5 ranking in entrepreneurship. It says University of Maryland, where startups fly. And in this particular picture, you can see Kava, one of the co-founders, Brett Schulman, a Terp out of the business school. And it wasn't just one baggage claim, it was all of them. Here you can see Epic software featured. If you don't know Epic software, they make Fortnite. Many of you may be familiar with Fortnite. Tim Sweeney was a graduate out of the engineering school. And amongst the rotation on that screen, it went through other companies started by Terps, Google, SiriusXM, IonQ, Beyond Meat, just all companies started by Terps. So very fun. But there's a reason I wanted to show this, not just to gratuitously brag about University of Maryland. It's to highlight this particular marketing campaign was only about starting companies, and that's just a fraction of what we're talking about when we talk about innovation. So actually, what I wanted to share, and hopefully this video will work in a moment, but I think, in my estimation, the most celebrated UMD innovator is not any of those that I featured, but it's Jane and Jim Henson. And Jane and Jim Henson were the co-creators of the Muppets. I'm sure a lot of people know that Jim Henson's involved, but it was actually his first girlfriend, later wife, Jane, who was a co-creator. It's a team sport. Innovation is a team sport, and I'm going to say more about that in a moment. But actually, I'm going to see if this video works. So hopefully, go to the next slide, and I'm going to play. If I click it, you want me to click it, or here we go. So 30 seconds of this. Oh, do we have sound? Ah, all right. If sound is not working, wait, can we restart? Because I was prepared for this. I have my Bluetooth speaker here, and I'll do a countdown 3, 2, 1 if we start at the same time. I'm hoping that this will actually work. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Close enough.
This was an experiment. No one had ever seen anything like it.
I wanted to capture the family aura.
But I don't think any of us sat there thinking, oh my God, we're changing the world.
Joan had a brilliantly simple notion. Children were watching a tremendous amount of television.
So why not see if it could educate them?
I love the whole idea of taking commercial techniques and applying them to a show for kids.
I was convinced that it would be impossible to do.
Jim Henson, Frank Oz. If they were on, you had a good say. We're the best of friends.
Yeah. How many lines do you have? Three. Well, try to get the first one better.
All right, you can pause there.
Come in a-
So give me a sec of a slide. So first of all, this is a fantastic documentary. If you haven't seen it, it's called The Street Gang, How We Got to Sesame Street. It's on streaming on HBO Max. There's also a new documentary by Ron Howard, Jim Henson Idea Man, that just came out a couple months ago. Also fantastic. I love that one even more because it gets into Jane Henson's role. Again, it's a team sport, lesser known that Jane was just every bit as innovative and creative and part of what they did. But so you should definitely watch those documentaries. But here's what I wanted to highlight. Jim and Jane Henson majored in what we used to call home economics. Not kidding. And they took what they learned in sewing and fabrics. They also took classes in the School of Performing Arts and theater and dance. And they made this fabric, this Jim's mom's old green coat and a ping pong ball cut in half and turned it into Kermit. I mean, it's amazing that what they brought to life. And what I really love about this is then later they partnered up with professional television commercial producers and educators to tackle a problem of, and some of you know this story, maybe a lot of you know the story. Sesame Street started with a grant from a foundation to try to help kids in inner cities who were not able to make it to school still get educated on basics. And so that was the genesis of Sesame Street. So you had very diverse people from different industries, different backgrounds, different cultures, different skill sets coming together to tackle this problem. And not only did they tackle this problem, but Sesame Street is still here today, bigger than ever, with a viable, sustainable business model that's not just donations and volunteers. It really is the quintessential innovation success story, not just for Maryland, but that I think that we can all draw inspiration from in what we do. That it's not always, well, anyway, there are many ways of doing it, but it's a team sport. Okay, so what we do at University of Maryland, the Hensons and Muppets are a great example of how we think about innovation more broadly. There's no one right definition of innovation entrepreneurship. There are many different methodologies. People call them different things. At Maryland, we happen to call them design thinking and lean startup, which I know a lot of you do as well. Some people like to say human-centered design or whatever. But basically, they're very similar. Design thinking is about building creative confidence, provides experiential learning with tools and processes and methods to help navigate ambiguity and complexity and tackle tough problems, ultimately leading to creative solutions. Lean startup complements it really well because once you have that creative solution, it's about this may work super well for 10 people over here, but how do you then bring it to 10,000 people or 10 million people without, again, relying solely on volunteers or donations? And you need a business model to do that. And Sesame Street has a business model. Nonprofits, which I'll get to in a little bit later, have a business model. So we try to teach that to to scale the impact that people have. So not only do this on campus, we've been very lucky to have had opportunities to work with many folks around the DMV. We've been contacted by Health and Human Services. We ran their innovation program, the HHS Idea Lab. It's called the HHS Ignite. We ran that for 5 years with them in partnership with them. We've been asked by NASA to do a design thinking and lean startup workshop for them. And what was kind of cool about that is they even wrote a paper called Design Thinking, Lean Startup, and High Technology Marketing for Human-Centered Systems Engineering. And basically, they were feeling an existential threat from the SpaceXs and whatnot. And they said, we need to learn the same tools and methods that startups are using as we reimagine how we do missions in the future. And they even wrote this paper about it, which is pretty cool. They gave us a little shout out in the paper as the academic institution that ran the workshops. So we've done this workshops with a variety of government agencies and nonprofits, and I wanted to share a couple reflections from some participants. I know these are hard to read, so I'll read just the bolded part. These are people who went through this workshop. These are government workers. I used to think I was afraid of change. Now I think through experimentation, prototyping, and collaboration, I can harness change. Another one, just jump in. Perfection is the enemy of progress. What is learned through iterative, scaffolded, and inclusive failure is often more informative than a one-off success. A couple others that I really liked. This ties back to, I think Cliff was talking about we need to do more listening, meet people where they are. So here's a reflection. I used to not think about empathy. Now I think about it all of the time. I don't remember if this is from the person that was from CMS, Medicare and Medicaid, and he kind of talked about like my life is all about statistics, and it's easy to lose track of who's at the other end of that statistic in the job that I'm doing, but there's actually a need for having that empathy in what we do. And then lastly, creativity is about creating environments and situations that open you to thinking in different ways. So I have a couple activities that I'm hoping will kind of build on that, getting everybody to participate, creating an environment to do so. Because at the end of the day, it's an experiential thing, so I can talk a lot about it, but the more effective thing is to let people dive in and try it. So I have an activity that we're going to dive into called Brain Spin. And it lets you give a little bit of a taste of another way of brainstorming. So Brain Spin is actually a game that was created by a Maryland alum, Frankie Aberland. And what's going to happen in 2 slides is I'm going to show a figure just similar to what's on the playing cards here. It's just going to be a simple figure. And you're going to have 30 seconds to write down as many things as possible that you think that figure looks like. So in your folders, if you still have them, there's some post-it notes in here, but you can also jot it down on your phone or whatever's easy. It could be if you want to do analog on paper, that's fine. If you want to do it on your phone, that's fine. But you can do this for 30 seconds. And what I'm going to ask you to do before I show the figure is that the online folks can play along, make your list too, and then I'm going to ask you when we're done to put your list in the Zoom chat, and Lizzie and Megan will keep an eye out for 2 or 3 that you can share out later. But I'm going to really encourage you to go for quantity. Try to write down as many things as you possibly can. Fun, intriguing, really weird answers. Let me get this queued up, and let's see. Okay, so here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. "15 seconds left. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, continue your same list. All I'm doing is rotating in 90 degrees. So same list, not a different list. Keep going. What else does this look like? Another 30 seconds. About 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, what I'm going to do, so online folks, you can type your list into the chat, but for the people here, get together with the 2 or 3 people closest to you and read out your answers. And this is kind of like categories. You know, in categories, if somebody has the same answer as you, you cross it out. You cross out the answers that other people have, and then we'll hear a few that people have left over. So a couple minutes to share out with your 2 or 3 people closest to you. Right. It ended up working. I'm glad you gave me the heads up because I brought the speaker just in case. Oh, no. I'm so glad. Seriously, thank you so much for giving me the heads up. Since I had that, it worked out pretty well. Because I was playing it simultaneously and you try to sync it up. So that works.
I fear I wasn't creative enough for my answers.
Oh.
I have sandwich for the second one.
It's good. It's good.
It's for both because I feel like I can do this or this way.
All right, about another minute, and then we'll hear some of your unique answers out there. Okay, yeah, that'd be great. All right. Apologies. I know there's a larger group in the back, and with a larger group, it takes longer to compare answers. So I'm cutting you a little bit short. But it doesn't have to be your answer. But in your groups, what are 1 or 2 that you heard that only one person had that was kind of unusual, unique, or kind of a fun one? And we got a microphone that can go around. Just why don't we start here? What are 1 or 2 that were not crossed off from your group? Yeah. Or yeah.
Get me out of the box. Blackboard for giants and elves.
Blackboard for giants. Okay, nice. How about over here? We'll hit like.
Yeah, we had Tetris.
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
And then bed frame,
No.
and also an open book.
Okay. Nice. How about just another couple groups volunteer? The back looked like they had a lot of fun discussion back there, so we definitely need to hit that back corner.
We had tennis court,
Huh?
modern art,
Some
and
Rothko fans,
then
maybe, you know.
just a 2D structure.
Nice, cool.
Megan, did you have one online while I'm walking over?
Great participation online. One of the unique ones for the vertical one is fence. And for the horizontal one, we have tea sandwich. Both great.
Nice. Excellent.
We had a couple that have already been said in the other groups, but we had an equal sign for the second one, and a room divider for the first one.
Cool. Nice. Any last answers? Anybody? Oh, yeah, back there.
Got one?
So for the vertical one, we have fridge. And for the horizontal one, I'm gonna give us 2. I put stairs and a cake.
Nice. We've done this with lots of students, lots of groups. Oh, sorry, you want to go ahead, share, please.
A couple we had that word said yet or salt and pepper, Danish design, back of Cybertruck, mirror, and priority list.
Wow. Got a good mix there. All right, that's awesome. So just like in any workout, you warm up first and then you do the real thing. So that was our warm up. All right. Which was terrific. You guys aced the warm up. But what we're going to do now is however many answers you had the first time, try to double it. Try to go for quantity. And here's a hack. And to really get to a high number, you have to turn off that part of your brain that's judging every answer. So just get them out there and just go for quantity, defer judgment. There are no bad answers in brainstorming. Okay. Let me get the music queued up, and then I will start the next one. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. 15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. 90 degrees. Keep going. Same list. Ten seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, same thing. Compare answers in your groups, and we'll just hear maybe one or two max from the different groups. And online folks, put them in the chat, and Lizzie and or Megan can share a couple from the chat. Yeah, I was only back by 4, right? Yeah. This is a good happy hour activity, right? It'd be fun to do this activity before and after happy hour and see the difference. Yeah, right. All right, about another minute, and then we'll share out. Yeah.
Very creative.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right, so I think we're gonna start at the back of the room this time. Same groups and just one or two unique answers that your group came up with. It doesn't have to be yours, just in your group. And the group of 8, the Uber group, the really large group, will give you maybe you can share 3 since they're so large. I heard you a lot of laughing over there, so yeah.
Okay, some that we had were a Quidditch goalpost.
Nice.
Which is personal favorite. A computer mouse and a bubble blower.
Oh, excellent. And 1 or 2.
Two unique ones that we had were toothpick with an olive.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, pencil sharpener
Ah, okay.
and a Q-tip.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
I like it. See, and happy hour is starting, so the toothpick with an olive is very, very fitting. I don't know if that influenced the answer at all, but yeah. And, oh yeah, online.
Have for the vertical one location pin and for the horizontal one a key.
A key. All right. So like a Google Maps pin and also a key. I see some nodding, some other folks had that. Awesome. I'm sure so there's some really, really amazing answers out there that we didn't get to, but I wanted to kind of debrief this a little bit. And so one of the things I wanted to share is that part of the innovation process is building on the ideas of others. And one of the reasons I love this activity is I love looking out at everybody as they're doing this activity. And I did it again here. And what I see a lot of is when we're comparing answers, somebody's reading their list and I'll see some, oh yeah, some nodding heads, and then I'll get to one where they're like, kind of a puzzled look. And then there's this rapid look at well, let me go back. Can I go back one? Yeah, people will be looking at the figure and then thinking about it again, and then they'll do another look, and then eventually sometimes people are like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of see it. But then there are also sometimes they're like, I don't know what you're on, but I don't see that. But here's the thing I wanted to emphasize about that. So building on the ideas of others, this is a reflection from a student in a class that I taught a couple years ago on the brain spin activity. And I know you can't see it, so I'm going to read it. But this student said the brain spin game activity was fun. Plus, it was a good way to demonstrate that different people look at the same problems and see different solutions, and that sometimes a change in perspective can open a new realm of possibilities. Like, wow, this 19-year-old kid said something really profound. Like I don't even need to say anything more than that. And sometimes that change in perspective can be something as simple as a 90-degree rotation, or it can be just leaning into their perspective. And what I wanted to add is that what's cool about that, I saw that, like people heard something like, puzzled look, a look, I'm going to lean into that perspective, I'm going to take another look. And sometimes you get there, but even if you didn't, how many of you might have gotten an additional idea that you would not have added on your list had you not heard this other thing that you still don't quite get, but it got you to build on the ideas? And that's a really key part of innovation as well. And the students summarized it so well, which is really cool. If you like Brain Spin, Frankie actually sells it on his website. There's also another one more free one you can try out on our website. It's if you go the slide deck I'll share with Lizzie and Megan, so you'll get this out there. But there's a URL, go.umd.edu/learn to innovate, and it's got this whole asynchronous course with activities, things like this one. Okay, so let's see how are we doing on time. I've got one more activity and then some wrap up. So this next activity is called the Teacup Challenge. And so part of design thinking is rapidly prototyping and testing solutions. And so we're going to get a small taste of that. And so what we're going to do is you're going to need your Post-it notes. But if you don't have Post-it notes, you can also choose to draw on your phone if you like. Your Notes app, if you'd like to try it this way, has a little pencil thing. If you click on that, it lets you just sketch on it. But you can either do it on Post-it notes or on your phone. So those online can play along too. What I'm going to do, I'm going to divide this room in half right down the middle. So this side, I'm going to give you a set of instructions. You'll be group A. This side will be group B, and I'm going to give you different instructions. So online, and folks, you're going to do the same thing as group A. So group A, all you're going to do, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to sketch a teacup with hot tea in it, and you can add as much detail, decoration, whatever you want, adornments to it, but you have 2 minutes, and just try to sketch as nice a drawing as you can of a teacup with hot tea in it. And online folks, you do that too. So your 2 minutes start now. Go ahead and start sketching. Wait, Group B, this half, you have something different. You're going to sketch more Pictionary style, right? And Pictionary, the idea is it doesn't matter how good it looks, you just want to get the idea across as quickly as possible. So you're going to have 5 seconds for your sketch, all right? So your first sketch is going to be a cup, all right? Actually a teacup. Okay, so ready, set, go. Teacup. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, stop. Now share your drawing with your neighbors. Just flip it around and show it to the people around you. All right. Group A, you're still drawing. You still have about a minute and a half, or no, a little over a minute left. Okay. Group B, second drawing. You can do it on the back of the Post-it, a fresh one, whatever you want to do. Your second drawing is a teacup with liquid in it. All right. So ready, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, go ahead and show it to your neighbors. Have a laugh, have a chuckle, compliment, whatever. Group A, you got about 40 seconds left on your drawing. All right, Group B, third drawing. 5 seconds again, and it's going to be, surprise, surprise, a teacup with hot tea in it. Ready, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. There's plenty of room in the back. So on there's 2 window panes. So we're going to do Group A. You're going to take your, if you did it on a Post-it, take your drawing and put it on this window pane over here. All right. And then Group B, take your third drawing and put it on this window pane over here. So everybody get up and stick them up here. And I want you to take a look, walk by both Group A's window pane and Group B's window pane, and take a look at all the sketches. All right, group A, I didn't do it. I did a right to left, didn't I? So A is the 2-minute one, B is the 5-second one. And make sure you take a quick look at both. Let me see. Oh, cool. I like that you did it digitally. Can I see? Ooh. And it's hard to draw with your finger. That's impressive. And color, nice. And yeah, you got the added benefit of you got color. I like those. Those were great. Thank you for doing that. Oh. All right. So for those online, since you don't have the benefit of walking over and looking out at this beautiful plaza, what I have on this slide is probably not that different than what everybody in the room has seen. Maybe just flipped. Oh, so what you see a lot of for the 2-minute drawings, and I saw a couple of these, there's some pretty phenomenal drawings. In 2 minutes, it's pretty phenomenal what some people did in 2 minutes in terms of shading, perspective. Maybe they wrote a little, decorated the mug, right? And then the 5-second drawings, group B, what you saw a lot of is more what's on this slide, at least, what's on the right. But here, I want to, so just real quick, from group B, what was something that was different in your instructions compared to group A? There are multiple things, but just give me time. Like, how long do you have? 5 seconds as opposed to 2 minutes. What else was different? Something else was anybody? Progressively. Do you remember? You did 3. So what was the progression? First, right? Teacup with liquid, and then teacup with hot tea in it, which is what you were assigned, right? And then crucially, what did you get to do in between rounds? Anybody? Got to look at others. So did anybody see something on somebody else and was like, oh, that's a cool way to show steam. I'm going to steal that. Or, ooh, somebody drew a little tea bag. I'm going to steal that. I see some nodding, right? So here's a quick takeaway on this fun activity, which I stole from a guy named Daniel Yee, who used to run an innovation program at Department of Justice. Yes, Department of Justice had an innovation program. And what I love about this activity is that there are 5-second teacups and 2-minute teacups in all our jobs. There is a time and place where you have to do the equivalent of the 2-minute detailed teacup drawing. Maybe it's a final presentation to the director, maybe whatever it is, it needs to be properly formatted, you need a spell check, you need all that kind of stuff. There is absolutely a time and place for that. There's also a time and place where that's not the right approach, where the 5-second teacup is exactly what you want to do, because in the time that you got to test 3 different iterative examples, and learn each one, that was the same time that they spent over here. And just imagine, not saying this happened in this group, but just imagine you did 2-minute teacup drawing, you showed it to somebody, and somebody's like, boy, that really sucks. Like, that's awful. You'd be hurt a little bit. Whereas the 5-second teacup group, if you show that to somebody, it's like, well, that's one of the worst things I've ever seen. You spent all of 5 seconds on it, and now you move on to the next iteration. Hey, I saw somebody else sketch something like this. I'm going to go with that instead next time. So you get to learn a lot in the same amount of time, and all that matters is getting the idea across, because both these, as well as all those on the window panes there, do an equally good job of conveying the idea of teacup with hot tea in it. But in this case, the 5-second one, you got chances to iterate, get feedback, and you're not so personally or financially invested in it that there's a downside to crumpling it up and starting over. So that's a little bit of like the design thinking, prototyping, and testing rapidly. Again, a student has, in their reflection, sometimes just teach far better than I do. So this student said, I have always had ample time to plan and have a formulated guideline as to what the heck I'm doing. This class, I was robbed of that, and specifically the teacup example, but this class, I was robbed of that ample time, but it was the best experience possible because it unlocked new skills and abilities I had never known I had. And the basic idea is like, you get this assignment, and you need to, and you're told you need to do this in 3 months. Like, oh my gosh, that's impossible. How can we possibly do that in 3 months? Well, shift to the 5-second teacup mode. What can you learn in those 3 months? Not what can you complete and have a beautiful 2-minute drawing in 3 months. And then actually, as a fun exercise, the amount of time you've been given. They said 3 months. What can we do in 6 weeks? Heck, what can we do in 3 weeks along the lines of the 5-second teacup? And it's freeing, it's liberating, and it lowers the stakes on failure so much, and you can you just have a better way of tackling the approach. How are we doing on time? Okay, so I'm going to jump ahead. We're running out of time here, so I'll just mention that we also have different experiential activities to jump into Lean Startup. But basically, what I said before is that this is how you scale a solution. I want to give one quick example. Let me jump ahead to the most relevant slides. So, oops, let me go back. So, Lean Startup, this is an oversimplification, but one of the key pieces of Lean Startup is who is your customer segment or your key stakeholder, decision maker, payer, stakeholders, and then what are their value propositions. And a simple way of thinking about it is your customer segment is who makes the decision in an organization for how people's time and how that organization's money is deployed. Could be one person, could be a committee, it varies. And the value proposition is just complementary with that. It's like, how do they make those decisions? Does it seem totally random? Some organizations like that. Or do they seem to have a strategic plan or heuristic or a clear prioritization that you have a pretty good guess on how they apportion people's time and budget? And basically, Lean Startup's like, go figure that out. Go talk to them. See if they'll tell you about that. And so the example I wanted to share is with Teach for America. This was a huge lesson learned for me when I got to meet Kai Kong. He was a program officer at the Gates Foundation. He's the one that asked me to look at the Teach for America financials. And I know it's a little hard to see, but basically, Teach for America gets about $300 million in revenue every year. And they use that to pay recent graduates to go teach in schools around the country that can't afford, the public school systems that can't afford enough teachers. It's a great program. But 2/3 of that 300 million is from donations like the Gates Foundation and others. However, 1/3 of that 300 million, a full 100 million of it, they earn from things like fees for service, licensing fees, contracts, the same kinds of things that for-profit companies do. Nonprofits are allowed to conduct those kinds of activities if it furthers their mission. And what Kai told me at the Gates Foundation says the reason you should look at this is we tell all our potential applicants to look at this because Kai, this was the aha moment for me. Kai said, if I'm looking at two proposals, both are really tackling really important challenges, and one of them is my personal favorite that I've actually had a passion about since I was way, way, way young. But if the one that I'm personally most interested in, where if I donate $2 and they only have $2 of impact, versus this other one that's more of the Teach for America model, where if I donate $2, they have $3 of impact because they generated that third dollar on their own, I'm obligated to fund this other proposal 100% of the time, even though this other one might be my personal favorite. And when I heard that, when I talk about it now, it seems pretty obvious to me, but I had no idea that was the case before he told that to me. And I would have thought that before, all I need to do is write a proposal that says, look how big this problem is, look at our team and how, our great idea, and here's some evidence of both about us and our solution. Write the check so we can go do this. And I would have been wrong. I would have been wrong because he also wanted to see, are there dollars additive? Do I have other ways of bringing in revenue? And until I knew that, I would have failed in my proposal. But Kai is very open. He's happy to tell that to anybody. So it's actually a pretty easy thing to solve if you go and talk to the decision makers. Although I understand it can be harder to get time from decision makers sometimes. But here's the thing that I wanted to kind of the analogy I wanted to use. When I was working in a startup, I spent 15 years out in Silicon Valley working at a tech startup. It boggled my mind initially that I thought if we have some amazing technological solution, if it solved 50% of somebody's problem, or maybe even 75% of somebody's problem, or even 90% of somebody's problem, why wouldn't they buy it? And what we learned the hard way by almost going bankrupt within like 2 months of going bankrupt is that even if you solve 90% of somebody's problem, a customer won't buy it. And the reason I like using the puzzle analogy because what we realized was that for what Kai talked about with the Gates Foundation, my understanding, which was wrong, was I just had to write this really compelling proposal about the social benefit. We're the right team. Here's a big enough problem. This is our approach. And so in terms of a puzzle, I thought we had the perfect last piece of a puzzle that fits there. But what I didn't know is my perception of the puzzle was wrong. I was right for the lower half of the puzzle, but there was this whole other part of the puzzle I wasn't aware of, which is I need to have additive dollars for it to matter. And that explains why a 90% solution does somebody no good, just in the same way a 90% last piece of the puzzle will not fit in that last space. You do not get the benefit, reap the rewards of completing the puzzle unless it's 100% exact fit. And that, like, oh, that's why nobody would buy our product, even though I thought it did almost everything they need, because they still need to go out and find that remaining bit to reap the full rewards. And so that's like a big aha for Lean Startup. And then to wrap, I'm going to jump ahead here. When we did this workshop, I just wanted to share a couple examples when we did this workshop with HHS. So we had them map this out. I'm trying to decide which ones to show quickly because I know what for. So the Washington Post even wrote up an article about this program, this ideation program, the HHS Ignite program, offers an education and design thinking to boost projects that aim to solve the agency's problems, large and small. And one example, it's just one example, but it's by Marlisa Rivera. This is from their demo day presentation to the secretary, improving access care in Indian Health Service emergency rooms by a fast track system. So they came in wanting to tackle the problem that I'm not going to show the video. Ooh, can I go ahead? This is their slide. They came in wanting to solve the problem that for this health center on this reservation, that on average wait times were oftentimes 2 to 4 hours, and more than about 25% of visitors to the ER got tired of waiting and would eventually leave. And sometimes they had something really serious where they might later have to be medevaced or whatever else. So they thought, hey, we could have these electronic kiosks, and that way they can get what they need and get out and reduce these waiting times. But in the 5-second teacup mode, they learned so much by what didn't work. One of the big things they found out is that there's this law called EMTALA, E-M-T-A-L-A, the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. Anybody heard of this? Yeah, I see some nodding heads. So for those that don't know, this is a law that ensures if somebody can't afford hospital care but shows up in an emergency room in dire circumstances, that the hospital is obligated to treat them. You can't say, sorry, if you don't have a credit card, we can't treat you. And what they learn is these kiosks do not meet the sufficient criteria as medical care. So they were violating EMTALA in a weird way because you're denying them access to actually seeing an actual doctor. Well, okay, 5-second teacup, they balled it up, threw it away, let's start again. And they went to talk to different folks, decision makers at the hospital. And what they learned was that since 1 in 4, 1 in 5 people walked out of the emergency room, they also learned about reimbursement. The way the hospital worked is that for every patient they saw, the insurance company would reimburse them a certain amount. So they did the basic calculation, X number of people walking out of the door every month, every year, on average, a billing from the insurance company that comes to so-and-so. They realized that $6 million was walking out the door every year. If they had seen those patients, that was $6 million that the insurance company would reimburse the hospital. Now they had the full sense of the puzzle, and they said, hey, would you like to recapture some of that $6 million that you're not seeing right now? Absolutely. Like, would you be willing to invest 1/10 of that in something that can help us address this? Absolutely. That completely changed the conversation. That got them moving in the right direction. And I love that story. It covers a lot of what we talked about here about not being too invested in, oh, I've got this ingenious app that's going to do so-and-so. You got to listen to your stakeholders. You got to meet them where they are. It starts with empathy. I think, yeah, I'm going to stop there. I have more examples. I'm happy to chat more about them at happy hour. That's just one of really some fantastic ideas. And I'm going to jump to the end. Again, I'll share these slides. So they're going to come out to everybody, but I have some links that when you get them, in case you're interested in learning about more. I know University of Maryland, there are folks that continue to do workshops for different agencies and nonprofits. So feel free to reach out to them on the contact page or talk to me. I think we've got champagne that's starting to get warm, so I'm going to stop here. Thanks for, I know it's been a long day, but yeah, thank you.
shorter. Thank you. That was so great and so much fun. I've learned you all have very creative minds. I will now pass things over to Tim Sussman for some closing remarks, and then we will start happy hour. One more thing. One more thing I forgot. We are extending the raffle for 20 more minutes into happy hour, and then we will draw a winner. If you leave before then, we do have everyone's emails, so we will email you.
Is it happy hour yet? First, big thank you to Lizzie and Megan and all of our idea scale help online in the virtual world. Hello. Thank you for your help in having people join today. This is all about you. Each of you attending today, this is community driven innovation. What we're a part of today in this movement, it's today and it's moving forward. This movement is just growing, and it's only possible because of each of you. So Dean, I love the remark on the different people with the different ideas, providing different perspectives, and generating new solutions. I think it's interesting to also consider, what problems are we solving, and is it the correct problem? Are we asking the right questions? And the more we reach out and diversify our constituent base in this community, in this crowd, that's how we're going to sense problems that matter and that really need to be solved. I'm supposed to kick off happy hour, so here's a toast. If you have a cup in the room, most of you do, please raise it. This is a toast to you, the change makers. So to you, to change makers, appreciate all of you. Cheers. And thank you to our great speakers. Thank you to everyone online. This concludes the Innovation Summit.